9 years after his outpouring of Lieder in 1840 to 41, Robert Schumann returned to song composition and produced a large number of songs during the years 1849 to 52. These are in numerous ways quite different in style from the Liederjahr songs. Especially remarkable is the change in Schumann's style of declamation. Rather than closely following the rhythm of the poetry in his vocal lines, as he had done in the earlier songs, he frequently distorted that rhythm in the later songs. The third song from his Opus 104, composed in 1851, illustrates this new style of declamation. The poetry by the young Russian-German poet Elisabeth Kuhlmann is regular in rhythm. Schumann's distortions are therefore particularly evident. The basic rhythm of the poem is da-da, 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 da, da-da, 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 etc. This is iambic trimeter with pauses between lines, short pauses after odd-numbered lines, longer ones after even-numbered lines, and with strong stresses near the end of each line. I'll recite the first couplet. Du nennst mich armes Mädchen, du irrst, ich bin nicht arm. There would be numerous ways to compose a vocal rhythm that conformed to this poetic rhythm. The most obvious possibilities would be in duple meter, but with elongation of all stressed syllables, or of some stressed syllables in a regular pattern, triple meter would work as well. Here is one example of a possible triple meter vocal rhythm. Alternate stressed syllables are emphasized by placement on downbeats, and some also by elongation via dotted durations. The larger scale rhythm of the lineation is clearly audible with this vocal rhythm. Rests articulate the line ends. Had Schumann consistently used this rhythm, his song would have begun like this. I'm preserving his pitches. In his actual vocal line, Schumann does use the rhythm of my hypothetical setting, but only 3 times. Otherwise, his vocal rhythm is quite irregular. His elongations of syllables are more unpredictable than those in my hypothetical vocal line. Many of the elongations appear on second beats, rather than on the downbeats of the 3-4 bars. Furthermore, Schumann frequently omits the expected pauses after poetic lines. The result is that the regular rhythm of the poetry almost disappears in his setting.
Du nennst mich armes Mädchen, du irrst, ich bin nicht arm, entreißt dich Neugier halber einmal der Schlaf.
The degree of distortion of the poetic rhythm increases as Schumann's song progresses. In his setting of the initial couplet, he provides the expected rests at line ends. But thereafter, he begins to omit these pauses. These omissions result in larger scale irregularities. Whereas in my hypothetical setting, all couplets occupy 4-bar hypermeasures, a natural duration given the poetic rhythm, Schumann's setting adheres to the 4-bar duration only in the first 2 couplets, then departs from it. The central couplets are squeezed into 3 bars each. 4-bar hypermeter is actually maintained in the music, but the couplets are not coordinated with it. At the end of the song, Schumann returns to his initial level of conformance with the poetic rhythm. The final reiteration of the first couplet occupies 4 bars, so that coordination between hypermeasures and couplets is restored. Furthermore, the pause after the penultimate line is once again rendered audible by a rest. Schumann's more drastic deviations from the poetic rhythm in the central section are linked to his interpretation of the poem. The increases in tempo in this section, the increase in dynamic level, and the increase in the amount of motion in the piano part suggest that he viewed the poetic persona as becoming more and more vehement as she lists the reasons why she is not poor. The increase in declamatory irregularity contributes significantly to the expression of her emotional state. Schumann's manipulations of the poetic rhythm, in short, are by no means haphazard. Here is a list of some additional examples of declamatory irregularity in Robert Schumann's late songs, with citations of publications that contain analyses of the given works. Full citations of the publications are given in the bibliography at the end of this video. A significant style change, such as the new manner of declamation that this song illustrates, raises the question, what are the reasons for the change? John Finson has offered one answer to this question. Schumann may have been influenced by Richard Wagner's views on declamation. This explanation makes sense. Wagner and Schumann both lived in Dresden during the period 1845 to 1848, just before Schumann embarked on his second Lieder phase. And they did meet and converse, although they apparently did not enjoy each other's company. But another influence, aside from that of Wagner, may have been at work as well. That of Clara Schumann, a composer whose songs Robert knew very well. She composed them as gifts for him. Let us look at one example, the Heine setting, Sie liebten sich beide, Opus 13, number 2. Listen to the rhythm of Heine's poem. Sie liebten sich beide, doch keiner wollte es dem anderen gestehen, and so on. The vocal rhythm shown here would be a natural choice for this poem. With this rhythm, stresses align with strong beats and strong stresses with downbeats. Line ends are articulated by rests, and 4-bar hypermeasures and couplets are coordinated. Here's a hypothetical setting using the vocal rhythm just shown, together with the composer's pitches.
Sie liebten sich beide, doch keiner wollte es dem anderen gestehen.
Clara Schumann's actual vocal rhythm is far removed from that of my hypothetical setting. Listen to the first strophe of her song. In this setting, strong stresses are not consistently coordinated with downbeats. Keiner and gestehen, for instance, occur mid-bar. There are some surprising, irregularly placed elongations of syllables, for example at beide and keiner near the opening, and at wollten and Liebe at the end of the first strophe. The placement of rests is unpredictable. They are not consistently used to articulate the ends of poetic lines. The first rest, for instance, occurs in the middle of a line. One could explain this rest by referring to Heine's punctuation, since it corresponds to a comma. But it has an expressive significance as well. It suggests, in fact creates, hesitation and silence, which is precisely what the beginning of the poem is about. The two lovers are loath to confess their love and remain mute. The unexpected elongations and rests result in disruptions of the hypothetical coordination between hypermeasures and couplets. The first couplet, for instance, is set to a 6-bar hypermeasure, and the second couplet to a 5-bar hypermeasure. Here is a list of some additional examples of declamatory irregularity in the songs of Clara Schumann that viewers might wish to consult. The similarities between the declamatory procedures in songs by Clara Schumann and in Robert Schumann's late songs are striking. The vocal rhythms of both composers conform to the poetic rhythm at least occasionally, so that listeners have a foil against which they can perceive declamatory irregularities. Both composers deviate from the consistent coordination of stresses with strong beats, and of 4-bar hypermeasures with lines or couplets. Both employ rests in an unpredictable manner, placing them at unexpected points or omitting expected rests. Both use declamatory irregularity not haphazardly, but for expressive reasons. Since Robert Schumann was more familiar with Clara Schumann's songs than anyone else in the world, and since his turn toward declamatory irregularity in Lieder postdates his contact with her songs, it is probable that he learned from them how distortions of regular poetic rhythms could be mobilized for expressive purposes, and that he put this lesson to good use in his songs in and after 1849.